I'm basically fishing for sponsorships at this point. So any of these websites, hit me up. So today is all about car parts. Wherever you are on the DIY spectrum, whether you're doing your first oil change or rebuilding your 15th motor, you're gonna need parts. And these parts can be anything. Talking about pistons, or if you want better speakers, or if you want a steering wheel cover, whatever it is, you want stuff. And there are a lot more ways to find this stuff than you might know. So we're gonna dig into that a little bit today. Starting with the obvious one, dealerships. Most dealers in most countries will have a parts department or someone you can talk to nicely to get the part you want. And generally, they're at whatever standard manufacturing pricing there is, plus some markup just for it being a retail sale. So that is one step for getting parts. And, if you need something that's rare and only the dealer has it, could be like a windshield, then yeah, maybe that works as an option. But it really would be a good idea to look at some of these other ones first as well. Starting with parts stores. You're all familiar with them, whether it's Advance Auto, AutoZone, O'Reilly's, Canadian Tire, Halfords. Wherever you live, there's probably a good range and selection of auto parts stores you can go to. And chances are they're selling you exactly the same part, or at least have the ability to sell you one that's very similar quality as what you would get for a dealer. But because they're not a dealer, their prices are usually a lot more affordable. And in fact, depending on where you live, they might even have ways of making that deal even sweeter. To give an example, Advance Auto Parts in the US actually has a very less known price matching policy. If you find the same part, including shipping, from another store or from a website, and you shoot them a message or give them a call, they will price match it for you. So you can buy it for the same price from them. And they tack on a whole range of in-store services. This can include free oil disposal, which is very common in the US. It can include free rental tools. I've personally borrowed the O2 sensor tool very often, or pullers, or brake vacuum kits. There's a ton of tools that they let you borrow for free. And of course, you do tend to have good, knowledgeable staff behind the counter who can help you find the part you're looking for, or help you with the install if you're having issues. So parts stores are a fantastic resource when you're trying to get what you need. Moving beyond parts stores, we get into everything that's online. So we'll start with the simple ones: online retail, eBay, Amazon. We've all spent hours on there buying things drunk, so you're familiar with these websites, I'm sure. But you might not have realized that they tend to have massive selections of auto parts and even fluids. Amazon, for example, has their own brand of oil on the website that you can buy, and it's supposedly quite good. eBay, on the other hand, is really good on the parts arena. You can go into the search box and just type in 2007 Lexus GS350 oil filter, and it'll automatically filter the listings, no pun intended, and show you all the oil filters they have available for your vehicle. It is a fantastic resource, and especially if you have an old classic car, parts are hard to come by. eBay's listing tools are fantastic. Now, beyond those, we get into the online outlets that are actually focused on car parts. So parts stores are massive online, and the way they work is, instead of having a storefront for you to go to and for them to pay rent on and for them to pay for staff for, they have a warehouse, or let's say 5 warehouses for the entire country, and they store a massive selection of parts in them. You go online, you order them, they ship it to your door, and they pass on the savings to you from having lower operational expenses. These sites are, like, I feel, a hidden trick. in the car world. You have like Rock Auto and 1A Auto are just the two examples that come to mind, and they have a fantastic selection of parts, all of which are reputable, they're original, and often they have updated and improved versions of parts that you won't see in stores or in pretty much any other outlet. So they're definitely a great place to look for when it comes to parts. But if they don't have what you need, which does happen with some vehicles and some parts, you can look at the specialty online stores, and these are ones that focus on carrying everything you could need for a specific type of vehicle. For example, Pelican Parts, based out of Arizona, they will have what you need for most German classic cars. Similarly, you'll have FCP Euro, which has, as the name might suggest, parts for most European cars. And they actually have some very interesting lifetime guarantee policies on purchases from them. So another great outlet there. And chances are, over the last 4 things we talked about, you would have found what you needed. But sometimes none of these does the trick, and you have to get a little bit more creative. And this is where the power of people comes in. If you're operating a vehicle and you need a part because it broke or it wore out and you need a new one, chances are you're not the only person in that situation. And there's usually going to be a community of folks who own this vehicle and are facing the same issue. So there tend to be these kind of hidden markets that aren't visible on any of these bigger platforms that we talked about. For those, you'll want to have a look at forums and Facebook groups for your vehicle, really anywhere that people can gather. And generally, they're either going to know where you can get the part, or they'll know a person who can get you that part. For example, I've been on both sides of this equation when it came to sourcing rare parts for some like vehicles in the past. So this sounds like a lot. We went over, a good number of sources you can find parts from. But I wouldn't be intimidated by this at all. I mean, the key here is to make DIY really a positive, enjoyable experience. You want to make it easy for you to find what you need so you can take on any project you'd like to do. And think of these websites as tools. As you play around with a certain vehicle or a certain project more, you'll become more familiar with where you can get different parts at the best rates. For example, I now know pretty much whenever I need shock absorbers, I'm going to go to rockauto.com because they have deals that no one else can beat, and they have options that no one else does. So when you get more familiar with them, it gets a lot easier. At the end of the day, the goal is to help you save hundreds of thousands of dollars like I have, but not have to compromise the quality of the parts you're installing on your vehicle. Better quality parts last longer, makes your life easier. So use these tools to your advantage and get out there and fix something.